Okay, so once again, welcome to everyone, part of the training, which we started 3 weeks ago. And so today we are walking through the water data analysis, which is a key topic and a key component of our training. And so this is going to be a more practical session. And I really do wish we can have some good time practicing and doing one or two things. So I'll start the slideshow. Okay, so water data analysis. And so this is the agenda. And please, you can mute your mics and so we can move fast. So please mute your mics. Okay. So we have here the agenda of our training tonight, which the first part is the introduction and definition of important terms, and then we have how to download water quality data from USGS portal, and how to download water quality data from Environmental Agency, UK portal, and then data formatting, filtering, and cleaning using Microsoft Excel. So basically, data analysis is a component of a monitoring process that turns collected data into useful information. And analyzing water quality monitoring data improves our understanding of system being measured and drives decision-making and management actions for government, organization, and local community. So testing and monitoring of water sources is of primary interest to many organizations around the world. So this is because biodiversity is controlled by water, and every living thing on Earth requires water to sustain life. So in essence, the reason why we are trying to do this analysis is because the information that is in water is actually limited in many areas of the world. And so every part of analysis we get, it's important to store this data. And data are in many forms. And if you are not a technician, you cannot understand what it is found in this water source. For example, maybe you have in a community setting, we have different sources of water, and a test has been conducted by one other technician, maybe from another organization, or maybe school or institute, and they give you this data that analyze the data and produce some reports about this water source to be able to bring out some decisions at the end of the day to guide the community. How are you going to do? This is the importance of how we should engage in the community. So we are bringing in data from different parts and learning how to analyze this data. We download, and this is the key part of our work. It is the key part of our work because we will be dealing with many information from many water testing data from different sources around Cameroon, Nigeria, in all parts of Africa, which we'll be working. And we need to understand how to manipulate the data, how to understand if the data is being mixed up, how to make it look good, and to be able to analyze it at the end of the day. So this is just part of what we are supposed to do in this training today and workshop. And so the first key information we must understand is that since we are working in Africa, there are limited opportunities or limited database where we could get water quality data, and we cannot really find ourselves involved into getting reliable data source, which we can download and then be able to analyze. And this is why we have to use practice from other advanced countries like United States and UK. So these are very advanced countries, and we can have easily accessible data which has been uploaded as far back as 1992 and as far back as 2000. Yeah, these people started doing some collective work and research into their community and develop the system. And whatever data they get in the field, they measure the parameter of water, and then they store this data in archives. And so this is what we want to understand. So the common water quality data set portals and their meaning. So the first one is NWIS. It refers to National Water Information System. It is a portal controlled by the United States Geological Survey. We have STEWARD. STEWARD refers to U.S. Department of Agriculture, sustaining the Earth Watershed Agricultural Research Data System. We have STORAGE. It refers to storage and retrieval and electronic data system for water quality monitoring data developed by EPA, United States Environmental Protection Agency. And then we have WQX. It refers to Water Quality Exchange or WQX framework. It provides the main mechanism for submitting data to the storage data warehouse. So these abbreviations we've seen, these are like database, like controlled by the US government and agency, which provide access online. So organizations can get there and download data. You can also exchange your data. For example, if they send you to go do some water testing in any water source, maybe a bore well or maybe a spring, a river. Once you get there, you do your sampling, you get the values, automatic, you can send this information about the results of the test online to this portal. And it is done using the WQX. Most of the data is an exchange. So this is a platform. We are not going to get details into this WQX, but our main focus will be NWIS because its focus, it's mostly the USGS platform. So we are going to be talking about this portal, which is NWIS. So now, what do we need to consider? Probably we are not having a lab. We don't have any lab as we speak, but we have data which we can get online. So how do we get into understanding what we need? The first thing is to understand the country or region of interest. For example, if we are talking now, on our case, our region of interest is US and UK. That is for the practice. But in real time, when we want to talk about how to collaborate to analyze data, for example, if you are sitting, we have done a lot of monitoring all over Africa. Then if I said to you that please, maybe Mr. Prosper, please download the database for maybe Zambia or maybe Zimbabwe or any country which we have conducted some tests and we have workers working. It's going to be very easy. So you know the country and the region of interest which we want to analyze our data to be able to get the condition of their water system and maybe pollution system as well. Because with this water quality data analysis, you'll be able to understand the pollution system as in a whole. Yeah, you can be able to understand that. So the second part is the type of water source, groundwater or surface water, so which you would like to study. And then we have the third, which is the water quality parameter. So generally in this database, we have all of these parameters in one. This is why we have to be able to monitor what we are doing. And then we have the fourth, which is choose the parameter of concern. So generally in the main data which we are going to be getting for practice, we are going to have a lot of database, like a lot of database information, like a lot of data sets. And this is very complicated in the form that you cannot analyze everything. Like there are many parameters, as in many. So we are just going to be concerned with some few parameters which we want. But the first thing in every water quality data analysis, the first concern should be directed at E. coli because they act as indicator organism for fecal contamination in water. So, which is our basis? Because if we want to check to monitor any water source, we should be checking first for fecal contamination. And which indicator is the best to, if we are doing our test? Which indicator can we use? Is E. coli. So if we can identify E. coli in our data sample, then we are good to go with further cleaning of our data. So we are going to see all of this in practice as I will start showing how we can do it. So identification of this indicator we have in our final analysis and report about that particular water source. And then we have here, so parameters of concern. So water quality parameter of concern which may be analyzed include the following: pH, turbidity, nitrate, arsenic, E. coli, fecal coliform, chloride, fluoride, calcium, and magnesium. That is total hardness, color. And as well, you can have conductivity, you can have oxygen reduction potential. It just depends on what you want. But for me, I understand that we can analyze just this as we go through this course, and you will see how to do the other type of parameters later. Like it's just the same procedure, no difference. So the USGS water quality portal. So the first thing is that to access the portal for downloading your data, we need to go through this website. And then to understand this website is a whole complex situation, and I'm going to show you how we're going to get to it. So like I said before, this is a website or a database which is controlled by the United States of America. And they have data set presented in tab separated table format, or we call it text. So you can have text format, which is very important. And data can also be viewed directly in the browser without downloading. So, but our purpose is to download and then see how to format the data and start doing a processing. So then we have here for, okay. So we have here for our practice, you see, we are going to be considering the following: location, Maryland, USA, site number, USGS, and we have this number, and then we have CHCD 48. So because this is how this data is collected, you are going to see when I open up and when we download, you see what we are going to do. Source type, spring. This is for the practice. Parameter, every type of parameter is found in this data, which we are going to download. And we'll see how we are going to change the values and make it more useful for someone who is not technician. So this is how the portal looks like. So once you open the website, I try to highlight in the previous slide, you see it appears like this. And then you have here field or lab samples. This is our interest because we want samples that have been tested by laboratories and on the field. For the other sections, it's more about some kind of on-site monitoring systems. Yeah, this is what you must know. And so some of the data here is just basically physical parameters like conductivity, pH, temperature, and other physical parameters, salinity, and the rest. But our major aim is to get this, the field and lab samples. So we are going to click here and then we'll see how to go further. So this is the next. So we have, when we click, we are able to see this window opens. So we have the water quality samples for the nation. And you can see site location, site identifier, site attribute, data attribute. So you're going to select and then tick the criteria you want. So, but actually, to make it more easier for some of us, we are just going to click the state or territory, and then we skip site identifier, and then we select site attribute. Under site attribute, we are going to tick site type, and then under data attribute, we are going to tick the period of record, which is the time which this data was recorded and uploaded. Yeah. The next step, once we have done that, we are going to click submit in the previous button, and then we have now, you see state and territory appears. That is every state in US will appear in this little box. And then we have the site type, which you're going to be able to see different types of water source you might want to think of, like the type lake, streams, springs, wells, whatever you want to choose. But for our practice, like I said, we are going to be choosing Maryland in the state and territory box. We are going to select Maryland, you see. And then in the site type, we are going to select spring. And then the period of record, we are just going to leave it like that. That is from 01, that is 1st of January 1900, right up to 2000, like this day, that is on the 17th. Yeah, 17th of July, 2023. So don't touch that. We'll see how to do it. Now, let's check also how we can understand about the Environmental Agency UK Water Portal. So this is also similar like that of the US, but it also has its own framework. And this is the website if you need. So we also see this in our next section. We are going to see how to do with this. And probably I should skip this. I'll explain it in the next session. Okay, so let's start with the Microsoft Excel walkthrough. So after we have downloaded the data from the website, from USGS portal, we have this following step after we have the data. The first step is to import the data using the data tab in the Excel and select the import from text. Second, choose the text file and select delimited tab and then click finish. The third, locate the E. coli parameter using the find function, Control F. The fourth, select 2 or 3 data sets which has recorded E. coli values. Then fifth, identify it. You need to highlight it with a yellow color, and then make sure to keep an eye on the site number. Remember, so you copy the whole data table and paste in a new sheet. Paste using the transpose function. Delete the other irrelevant data. Change the site number to represent the real value. And then remember, site number is this number. I showed you this number when we started explaining. Then we have here delete the other irrelevant data. The last, filter the data set by using the count function. Data will now be ready for further analysis based on the objective of the work. So it is not yet done, but this is what we are going to be doing for this exercise, to filter, clean, format our database and make it look good, so that when we start doing our analysis tomorrow for the next training, it will be more easier to correlate it with the national water guidelines or standards. And then we have also the WHO standards, which we are going to be using these other 2 parameters to compare with the results of this water source. And then we are going to produce graphs which can explain to us what is going on. This is complex. That is for tomorrow. So for now, we just need to finish with the database and see how we could get this data and then make it look good. So then I think I will stop now, and then I go to find the next slides. Okay, so now let me open. Okay. Can you guys see my screen? This is the USGS website. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, I'm able to see.
Okay, great. So this is the USGS website, and guys, we're about to get work done. So be attentive. And so if you open up, if you click the link I showed in the presentation, you're going to see this. Immediately, if you click that link, you have this. And then you have here what I showed in the slide, and then you have here field or lab samples. You got it, you click. Great. So we have this next page open. And like I said, we have site location, site identifier, attribute, and attribute data. So we are going to click state and territory. We are going to click site type, and we are going to click period of record. And then we click submit. Okay. It open up. Now for the practice, like I said, we have this little box for site and territory. We want to find Maryland, and Maryland is here. Great. And then we want to see about spring. We select. And then remember, for the period of record, don't change anything. It's rather good to leave it like that. And then we have here this data set, which said display summary of selected site or choose output data. Yeah. So we'll select this site description information displayed in table format. Okay. And then we'll now reach down at this point. For example, let me just explain. We don't need to select anything. You will see retrieve sample time and time zone. So you leave it as what? As the time that was stored, like no changes. And then we have retrieve samples for specific parameter value, which means that you might want to get some values in your data which are not higher than some values, or maybe less than some specific value which you're trying to find, like for your parameters. But it's not important. We want every values, whether being 0.002, what to maybe 10, 2000, depends on any parameter we just need. This is what we do. And then here, you're going to leave this as sample that includes above selected criteria and all associated parameters. Leave it like that. Then this is where we want to choose how to download. We have the first one, table of data. Don't touch that. You click this, tab separated data. And you can select, depends on what you want. You have year, month, and day. I can change, and I put month, day, and year. Just what I want, but I should just leave it like that. It's okay. And then I'm going to click submit. And it's going to download my data. You see? It's downloaded already. And now we want to check also how we can see our downloaded file. Most importantly, I'm going to click here so you can see. Okay. So this is download folder, and we are going to check. This is the file. I hope you can see. Do you see? QW data. It's downloaded. Now I'm going to open up my Excel, a new Excel sheet like this. Okay. Okay. So a new Excel sheet is open, I think. Most importantly. I think, sure. Okay. Can you all see the Excel sheet open? It's clear right now. Can you see this? I want to make sure you see. Please, if you see this, please tell me if you see it, so I know that I'm with you guys. If not, I'm going alone.
I can see it.
Okay, great.
Yes, I can see.
Great. Okay, so next step is that we are going to move to data. This is data, and then we go from text, select from text, and then we select downloads. And then you're going to see this bar text file. So you choose all files because that file is actually tab separated, but it's not going to appear like a text file, but we want to make it look like that. So we're going to select any folder, and then we are going to press the letter cure, and it's going to direct us here, and it's easy. And then we click import. And when we click import, remember from the instructions from the presentation, I said you have to click delimited first, and then you move to next, and then the tab, which is the next instruction. So you don't click comma because this is not comma separated value file, CSV. We are going to learn about CSV in the next section. So we click next, and then you leave everything like that and click finish. You see what will happen, and then you click table. You see what's highlighting, and it appears. So you're going to see something. File created on 23rd, 07/15/30 EDT. This EDT is Eastern Daylight Time. It's based on European standard. So we have US Geological Survey. This is just information. But let's go gently, and we are going to see something down. As we are going down, we notice some little information we have here. We have agency CD. Agency CD means agency code. Site NO means site number. Sample DT, begin date. Sample TM, begin time. Sample NDT, end date. Sample NTM, end time. You see? So these ones are just like what you need to know. But we'll discuss about this more in the next training tomorrow. And one thing I want us to understand about this data set is that according to the system, the platform online in the USGS portal, we have each parameter has been assigned a particular code. And these codes are in this order. For example, we have temperature. Temperature is P0010. And we are going to see other values. We have turbidity P0076. We are going to see dissolved oxygen P00300. We are going to see pH P00400, and so on. Nitrates, nitrites, you see, P00320. You see, so this is how it's been assigned to make it very easy for you to find the data. Now let's see what we did with the file, because if we do not do this formatting, the file will totally be upset. And I don't really have time to show you how it's going to be like that. You can try that on your own time. Just try to import the file without doing any of that thing, or maybe just open the file like that, and you'll see what will happen. It's going to be really, really crazy. You won't understand what is there. So it's just the formatting which is needed. So let's go down, and then we are going to see some important information. So these are all water parameters that, like, very, very too much. That's why I told you before, we cannot be able to analyze all of this, you know. So we are going to select particular parameters of concern. If you see in the slide, that's what I explained. So we go down, and then, yeah, let's go quick, and see what we have. I want to go gently because if I rush, you won't understand the form. So we have all of this explanation, and we have description of what we have. So we see this is Maryland. Geological Survey, which is the main unit which collected the samples. And then we have here description. So wherever you see WG is groundwater, WS surface water. And we don't mind because this is spring. We downloaded for spring. So it might be a spring which is somehow always like, maybe on the surface. Some is like you must maybe find it at the ground level. So these are different sites which are included in this Maryland because we downloaded the whole of Maryland file for spring. That is in fact, we just collected the data for all springs which are found in Maryland. And this is the reason why it is written here, data for the following sites are available. So this is the code, which is the site number, like I explained, site number. So this site number represents a particular community or maybe a particular county. You get? So this is just how it is done. So these are different locations or different spring zones which are found in Maryland, and there are too many. So you see, in the whole of Maryland, and we have that, yeah, it's actually not much, yeah. So these are the site numbers. It represents maybe a county, it represents a particular area, a community where this spring is located, and it's being given a site number. This is for clarity for data. So you have understood about how to interpret that. So this is now the main table which we are going to be working with. And you see agency CD, these are the codes. And then you see SNO, which means site number. And then S, sample DD, and that. So when we start going, you start seeing now the parameters which have been measured. You see some values. And then you discover, you see something like this, WS, which is what? Surface water. And then you see PO. And this, all of these are codes I showed you up. These codes represent parameters, different parameters. But now, for us, in the direction I gave, we must start with E. coli because this is what we want to get. So to find E. coli very easily, we cannot, in this like data set, it's too much. It's going to waste a lot of time. So what do? We can click Control F and Control F, and then we want to make as if we want to type Escherichia coli, yeah, like that, and click. You see what happens in the screen? It gives me the location, and I click here, and what I do is I highlight yellow. You see? I just click and find that. So now we have had E. coli selected. I just did that. And now let's look at the code, P31633. Now, we cannot also just be scrolling and going up the Excel sheet just like that. It's going to waste a lot of time. So what do? We click we type the code, P31633, and then click Find Next. It gives us direct to where we have. You guys see, and then you highlight, as well as you can still highlight like this, and then highlight everything in this row. So when we are going to be finding the site number, because now we want to get in this particular column, we want to search right down to discover where we have a value where there's an E. coli value. So let's go together, and gradually, this is what we are going to do. So we see this, it's very easy. Look at where we already have 20. And then we have what? We have 1,200. We have 150. So we are going to highlight all of these. We click here, see my hand, and I highlight, because this is to make us be very clear of what we are selecting at the end of the day. I highlight it, and then I highlight this. It's now clear we have these values. And remember, we also have fecal coliform, which is just above E. coli in this data set. So this is fecal coliform column, this one. If we are going to check that, we will see it when we start doing the other analysis. We're going to see it. So we are going to go down to see if we have another E. coli maybe value and see in this data set. No, I don't think. Yeah. So everything is clean. Yeah, everything is clean. So what we need to do now is to go back. Let's click this and move. Let's go back like this and go up. So this is going to be very easy for us to discover what we are doing. Now, how do you notice the site? Okay, very easy. So this is what happens. Look at the data set where this particular site, remember this is site number NO. This particular site had a record of E. coli, which when it was in 2000 and recorded on the 3rd month and the 14th day, 2000. And we have again on the 6th month, 14th day of 2000. Another testing was carried out on this particular site. So how do you see this value? You see 3.83005 what, and you see plus 14. Now, for us to be able to see what we have, we are going to highlight this and to be able to display the site numbers. It's really much important to do that sometimes, but I don't really want us to waste time. So let me just highlight that because we are not going to be selecting everything and we don't need most of the other data. We are going to delete it in the other side. So when I highlight like this, I'm going to click on, I'm going to right click, yeah, right click, and then I click on format cell. And it opens up, and then I click on custom, and then I click on what? 0, and then I click on OK. You see, we now have a very clear number. You see, the plus 14 and all the values that had, and then you see plus 14 is now out. And we can now see, you see that from these highlighted points from the particular site, we had a record of E. coli, which means this site with 701 ending had a record of E. coli, which means this water source is polluted. This is first key indication, as we know. So how do we know the site in particular? And we need to find that. So what we need to do is we just highlight this and also click and find. We have, I think, less than 1 minute, and then we're going to click Control F. And then paste, and then find next. And it's going to be like that. Okay, this is the site. I click on find, and this is where we have. You see? And we are going to highlight this also. So this is for the first step, which we are going to do the second step. And please, let's reconnect, and then we're going to come back again to complete the analysis. Thank you. Okay. Okay, great. Now we just see how to get the site number of the water source and using the find function, and we observe how to be able to display this site number using the format cell, and we did that. So now we close this and we come down and see. So we have highlighted values here, which means this is our point of interest because we have located or identified E. coli in this sample or in this water source in this particular site. And remember, this is spring water according to our data we downloaded from the website. You can download any other data, depends, but this is what we're going to use for practice. And some of you are going to use other water source, which I might give for your personal practice. So now, next step is to copy all of this data, and so we can move forward. What do? We are going to click here like this, and then write down, and we're going to select everything. Okay, we have this like this. Now, we're going to click copy, right click, copy, copied everything. We go to the next sheet, sheet 2, and then we come here, and then to paste, we don't just paste. right? So we come to paste and then we choose transpose. It's the transpose pasting, so transpose function. And this is what we do. We paste it. It's going to transpose. You see, everything has changed. So it has inverted the columns. The columns are now the rows, and now the rows are the columns. Simple. This is the transpose function. Now, what do we know? We see we highlighted something, and if I click, you see, this is where we highlighted, remember, and which is our point of interest because we found E. coli. Now, which means that all other data sets are irrelevant. We don't want it because it's not our point of interest. So what are we going to do? We are going to highlight all of these, and then we click, right click, and then click delete. Delete it. And then so for the other parts, like that. I just want to do it so that you know, most of you, I cannot be using too much functions and you people might get confused. So like that, also I click and then I click delete. Wow. So this is what we have. Now we see this value is not displaying because this is the site number. Why? Because this the cells are very close to each other. So to be able to make it, everyone should be seen. We just click like that and click like that. You see, it's now open. Okay, the formatting. And then what we need to do next is we understand that the data set is not in order. And we see P04, P12, and then we have here, yeah, we see. So we see some space in our data set. Let me remove this color, and so we can have no field. Yes. So no field. Let's see clearly now. So remember, this is our site. It's the same site, but sample collected at different months, but the same year. So this was collected on the 3rd month. This was on March, on the 6th, which is June, and then on the 8th, which is August. So we have to understand what is happening in our data. We see some gaps. Yeah, we see, and there are no measurements, but here we have measurements. If you see P00225, if we check at our code, we're going to see, but I don't want to waste time because this is the lesson for tomorrow. And we understand how to select the right code based on our parameters which we want. So for now, we just want to fix the data to be okay. So we're going down, we see a lot of space, but for us to start deleting this data and see how to do, it's a long data, you see, it's very long. So how then do we get our value for what we want? So we are just simply going to click on this cell and click count, and then you click here, and then you have the equals to, and then you click now count, the function count, and then you press like that, count, the bracket opens, you see value which you want, so you click here from site, you highlight like that, bracket close, and then press enter. We have 3 counts, and then you have the plus sign. So make sure your arrow is serving this black sign plus, and then you double click. It gives a count. Now what you're going to do, because we want to eliminate the areas where there are no values and then leave the sites which have value. Remember, we have also sections which don't have value, but we don't want to delete all of this particular row because there's a value here. Because if we are going to select some filtering option, we are not going to have, we are going to be deleting everything that has space. And that other function, we don't want to use it. It's also another function, but I will not use that function. So we want to use this because we don't want to delete this cell. So we want to delete only the areas where there is totally nothing recorded. You see? So how we're going to do? So we're just going to click here, and then probably we click on data, and then we click on filter. And you see these arrows appear on top of this first row. And we are going to click on the count, and then we make sure we deselect, and then we select only 0, because we want only values that like 0 count. There is no data, which is important inside. So we click OK. You see, this is the values which we have. This is the cells and the rows and the columns that don't have no value. So what we need to do is highlight from here, and then go down, and then check. Let's see what to do. So we have many cells. So okay, let's see. We have a little bit of query, I think, up here. So let's try it again once more. Tag. I just want only this one. Okay. Click OK. Great. So okay. So we are going to be eliminating everything which is representing negative values or that. Minus, okay. We have this. I want to get where we have this. So you can see if I have to do that. Yeah. So we have this, and then I'm going to click on delete. So to delete row, if I click here, it's going to delete. But there's another way I can do it. Let me just do it. As you see, it's selected. I just click delete on my keyboard. Everything has been deleted. And then I'm going to click now. We don't want blanks. So if I select this, I'm going to unselect the blanks, and then I click. You see? So now everything looks okay. From P0010, see what we have? These are the values. So we don't have any random value with spaces. So there are no spaces inside here. Yeah. So this is our final data we will need for analysis. And more to that, in the analysis, we might have to remove this particular reading, because there are no many information. We might use this and this, or this or this, any of them for analysis. So that is just a simple walkthrough of how the file needs to look like. And we might consider other options if we find in that we need some values from different parameters which we want. So with that said, I think if you have a question now, you can ask the question, and then we see what we can do. If you don't know, I can go back to the slides, and then we can find a way to get through. So I stop sharing now. So is there a question from any of you based on the walkthrough?
Yeah, thank you for this session. I have a problem with downloading the not actual for I have a problem with downloading the data from the site. Actually, my network was disturbing, so I came when the file was already downloaded.
Yeah,
So I
so
think for now, the session was good, but for now, that is my main problem.
yeah, the main parts, I think. So okay, so I'm going to stop share